Welcome everyone back to Half-Life 2 part and today
Hey, it's not redacted anymore, guys. It's not redacted anymore.
What are you talking about?
It's a weird onomatopoeia sound.
Oh. They didn't hear me say redacted. That was before the part. You've ruined my intro.
Yeah.
You fucker.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're on the boat now, and I like the boat. It was something that I hated when I was a kid because, you know, I was playing on the orange box on a controller, and it doesn't feel great on controller, I'll tell you that much.
I want to agree, but I can't remember. So, whatever.
Because you know what happens is when you back up, the left-right controls invert for some reason. And that feels natural to me on a keyboard, but on a controller, it fucks my brain up like nothing else. Holy shit. I don't really understand why they do it that way, but, you know, it's a thing. But, yeah, we're gonna be here for a minute on this fucking level. This is a long chapter. Why is it this long? I have no fucking clue. They were really proud of this thing.
For my thoughts on this, if you watched my short live stream playing a bit of Half-Life 2, you would know I'm not really a fan of it.
No one's gonna watch that.
I like the idea of water. Well, that's why I'm explaining it again. IG Man.
It's Gerald Man. Get him.
I like the concept of it. I think it controls fine.
Uh-huh. Well, shit.
But, like the rest of the game, I just don't have much fun with it, but that times 10. This is not my kind of section of gameplay. I'm not a big vehicle fan. If I'm going to control vehicles, they have to be like very little complication. I don't have to do I shouldn't have to do much in them, and basically just vehicle sections in Halo are about all I like. And maybe Borderlands because I only ever Borderlands
forward
because I only ever use the ones in Borderlands to get to places faster. I don't do much with vehicles. I don't play driving games. It's just how I am.
I mean, yeah, I'm not like a big driving game fan either. I actually actively dislike racing games a lot of the time. But you know, I don't know. I'm fine with a little bit of vehicle variety in an adventure game or an action game from now and then.
I think the only thing that hurts this is it's a whole chapter, and it's a really long chapter. If it were shorter, and maybe, you know, an optional vehicle section, or maybe you could go inside guns blazing, and maybe you could like skirt around outside on the river in the vehicle, or you could go inside the base guns blazing, you know, one of the two options.
You say that, but you literally can do that. You never have to stop on this thing. I could have been far beyond the point where I am now if I haven't been stopping for these lambda caches. They designed it to be this way because in playtests they had players that did both. They had players that just blasted through everything, and they had players that
even with blasting through everything, it still takes forever.
It takes significantly less time, though.
It does.
Because there's a lot of...
My criticisms aren't in the optional stuff. I think that's fine. What I'm saying is just skipping the vehicle section completely.
Well, you can. If you initiate an accelerated back hop away from the vehicle at Mach 20, and you fling yourself off this piece of rubble, then you can fly to the next section, no problem.
You don't know. I don't know anything about these physics. What is this? Inverse kinematics, huh? One of those fancy words.
Inverse kinematics is an animation thing. I don't know what you're talking about.
I know. I'm trying to be dumb here. This puzzle took me 40 minutes as a child to figure out.
Dude, I was stuck here as a dumbass child for so long. And it's like the simplest thing ever. Oh, put the floaty barrels in the thing so the ramp go up.
It's just not intuitive, especially if you don't play many games with a lot of physics, you know?
Well, see, that's why...
And I hadn't played 06 yet.
This is why the game does this kind of thing, though, quite a bit, because this is a new thing in games in general at the time.
Right.
So they have to stop you and make sure you know how it works every now and again.
I get that. It's just, compared to any other game since I have, these kinds of physics are not intuitive to me. I've played more games since that have helped reinforce it for me, but there are very few games that still do it quite like this. So it's still a lot of skills that you're only ever going to use in Half-Life, which I think is great. It makes Half-Life very unique.
Yeah, honestly, like no other game, like games obviously started incorporating physics-based objects in them after this, like heavily. It was just like a thing in every game, no matter what it was. You'd have like Havoc physics in it or whatever. But like no one really used it like Half-Life does, other than maybe silver levels in Sonic 06. Where you actually can pick up and manipulate the objects.
Most games, if you see Havoc's physics engine in the credits, it just means that there are lots of objects that you can knock around in the game, but they don't do anything. That's it.
Yeah, even in Half-Life Alyx, the physics are in the game, but they're definitely not a focus of that game whatsoever. They're more so there for like the VR experience, the immersion, because you can go around and just pick up everything and interact with every single little object, and that feels very natural in a VR space where it's supposed to feel really immersive.
Yeah. I feel like the only other game I've played that has physics that kind of really matter is Halo. And even then, it's pretty on the low side, and it gets better with like each of the Bungie games, and it kind of stops with 343. But like, if you send boxes flying fast enough or have different levels of acceleration, they will cause damage or kill the player. Actually... This would have been in the first Halo 3 recording I have, but I scrapped it. But like, there's a point in the game where this giant-ass ship called the Forward Unto Dawn flies over to you. And I mean, this is like a big-ass ship that usually only ever stays in like orbit. But it's going planet-side for you. And when it rushes in, it like, they like have a physics effect to blow everything away from the engine.
Yeah.
And a vehicle that was in front of me hit me and killed me during that section. And it was really funny, killing the moment.
Therefore, it's peak game.
So when I record the game again with my buddy, who's going to record it co-op with me, I'm gonna get him to die to it to show it off because it's really funny. Spoiler alert to Halo 3.
Good to know, I guess.
Can you light Combine on fire?
No. Though, speaking of that, because we were talking about them exploring more robust physics systems in this game, and I know I said I'd keep like talk of the rumored next game very limited, but that seems like they're taking that idea and just going crazy with it for the next game.
That little folks to another section that's probably going to age horribly.
Well, what they're basically adding is it's still going to have like the physics objects and stuff, but now they'll have even more physical properties to them. Like they'll have a burning point, and a freezing point, other such things like that.
It's kind of like what Breath of the Wild does, but to the next level.
Yeah, that's what it seems
kind
like
of where it has various chemical relationships among objects that can interact with each other.
And it seems like that's going to be like the major evolution that they're bringing forward for the next game, because they always have to do that with these Half-Life games.
Would that even be really a Half-Life game? I feel like that could be a really effective horror game where like you have to do like puzzles with fire and such.
It's almost like a reality sim with how detailed they're going with it.
But then it's a linear action game.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I feel is like crazy. The reason these kinds of physics and such work is because you have other gameplay to help with that.
Right.
And they hide the flaws with the system, so you're not only looking at it the whole time.
Yeah, it's more Half-Life games are more so just supposed to be like a showcase of look at this technology. Like we talked about that already, but
Yeah.
they're more so to be like, look at this new idea that we had that can add immersion and added like player expression into your game if used correctly. And I really like the series for that. So I'm excited to see what Half-Life does with it.
I would just like to say congratulations. This video is now as dated as people talking about the NSX in 2014.
The NX? You mean the NX?
NX, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm fine with that. I want this video to be dated because I want Half-Life to come out.
Hey, to be fair, our video talking about Shadow Gens when it first got announced actually ended up being kind of accurate.
Yeah. So we were a little more optimistic about the various stages that could appear in the game.
I know, we were just, I don't think we were talking about definites. We were just talking about what our choices would be. So I think that's fine.
Yeah. Well, we were also just like, oh yeah, Infinite's going to be in this game for sure.
Okay, we were wrong on that. I was also right when I said, like, years ago that Sonic team had the Generations team cooking something. Partially right, but I am right, and I will continue to hold on to that. And let's talk about Half-Life some more.
I, like, held on to that theory so hard, too. By the way, I was like, please be correct. Please, I want that more than anything. But,
fuck this section.
You know, this section's good. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, it just killed me a lot because it's not my
preferred FPS
I mean,
gameplay. It's not easy, but it's also, like...
I don't even think it's that hard. It's just... really high. It's the section that really highlights this is not the type of FPS gameplay I prefer.
Like, what specifically is wrong with it? Arena? You prefer arena stuff is what you're saying.
Arena stuff with mixes of monsters, not everything being hit scan for weapons that constantly drain my health. And if it's not that, then something a bit more cover shootery in like COD or Halo. Where I have regenerating health and I can just take cover.
That is actually a common criticism of Half-Life 2. All the enemies being hit scan, essentially. Because it's just a fact of life. You're going to take damage. Whereas in Half-Life 1, the enemy AI had more specific patterns to them. Such that, like, the characters that do have hit scan weapons... They only attack you after either a really long charge up, the Vortigons, or they can only either shoot or move. They can't do both at the same time. So if they stop shooting, they will have to stop shooting to move. So it gives you an opportunity to...
I mean, that's also just accurate to real life, which I feel is way more fitting to how the AI of Half-Life were supposed to operate. They really feel like real soldiers aren't going to move and shoot. Right.
The Combine in this game are fucking stupid. Like they run and gun.
They're mooks to take out, but you're not supposed to think about them.
Yeah, they run and gun. And
I think that's what I hate about it.
By them, but they're easy to kill.
I think that's what I hate about it the most. Is they're mindless to take out. But you still have to be careful, or they will drain your resources so fast. And that's where. And I'm not a careful gamer in this type of gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
like I can learn to be careful and get good at something if I have to for like difficulty. But I don't know, something about Half-Life.
Honestly, you're better off just like running around, running and gunning, killing everything as fast as possible. I don't do that because I'm a bitch. But you know, honestly, you take less damage if you kill the enemy faster. That's all I can really say in this game.
I mean, I tried to do that in my playthrough, but I still suck at keyboard and mouse aiming. Another reason I really like Doom 93. You don't have to vertically aim. It's great.
Honestly, that's probably another thing that'll probably make like this game feel even more outdated once the next Half-Life game gets released, if it ever does, because like now Valve has the coveted Steam Deck, and they're now making all of their games compatible with controller controls right off the bat, instead of what happened with Half-Life 2, where it was a keyboard and mouse game through and through, and they just kind of threw in controller controls after the fact. So it doesn't feel good to play on a controller at all. But I believe Half-Life will play really well on a controller because they have the Steam Deck. They want to make it as compatible with that as possible. And that's something, again, why I like Half-Life Alyx more. It uses the VR controllers, and those are effectively just standard video game controllers. So it feels really good to use like a dual stick control scheme on a Half-Life game. It feels more modern to me. Also, Magnum, fuck the world.
I feel another thing that hurts my gameplay and combat of this game is I suck at aiming, yes, and usually to compensate that on something like Halo or Call of Duty, I'll just hide behind cover and take my shot, aim carefully, that kind of thing. Take it slow a bit because you can afford to. That's how Call of Duty is meant to be played. In Halo, I have regenerating health, and I will just bum rush everybody. I'll just run up in front of them, unload everything, hide back in cover, regenerate health, and repeat that cycle. I like that.
Right.
Half-Life, you can't do that. There's no regenerating health. If you bum rush an enemy, they will shoot you a ton. You'll kill them, but you're going to take a lot of health, and you can only do that so much. So in a big room like this, where enemies are spread out everywhere, aiming's way more important.
I don't know I don't know how I'd personally feel if Half-Life had a regenerating health mode. I mean, if it's a separate mode, then yeah. But, like, I don't know. Part of the tension of these games, part of the reason I like them so much is the health system. Because, yeah, you can get fucked over sometimes. And you just kind of have to live with that until the next section, or reload the section to play it again and try and do better.
Well, that's why I like it so much more in arena shooters, because I feel the enemies are better balanced for that kind of system. In this, I'm just holding on for dear life, and I can turn a corner and just, nope, you're dead. And there's nothing I can do about it other than reload an earlier save and hope I do better on health this time. And I don't like that.
I feel like if you're ever at the point where you have...
It really is. Honestly, it's mostly just...
This guy jump scared me. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I realized it. I realized at the end of the day, this is all just skill issue. I suck at this game, and I will fully admit that. I just don't have the patience or the appreciation enough of this of playing this game that to actually get good. And it's kind of the long and short of it. I suck.
Honestly, it's
Doom.
true
Doom. I suck at aiming in that, like the newest ones. You could very much tell that in my Nightmare run. But I like that game enough to actually want to go through and play it all.
Honestly, it's true of like most games that they become more fun if you're better at them. I think that's very true for most games. But if a game doesn't hook you enough to want you to get better at it, then it has a problem on the game, I think. Or well, it's at least just not for you,
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying not to sound too critical of this game. I don't want to give off the impression I just hate it because it's a popular thing to do.
Well, why don't you praise something about it?
Huh? I have been praising stuff about it. I've been talking to how good the physics are. How revolutionary this is. It's a great looking game. It still has satisfying gameplay if you're into it. I'm just not into that.
No, I'm just messing with you.
Okay.
But
Ravenholm is like the peak of peak.
Yes.
Even I could admit that.
I cannot wait till we get to Alyx, because I'm fairly certain you've never watched a playthrough of that game.
Nope.
And I wanna just show you the fucking Jeff section so bad.
Oh, I know about the Jeff section. I watched Liam Triforce's review and he talks about it because I'm like, well, I'm never going to be able to play this game. I might as well just watch it.
Yeah.
I also don't care about game spoilers as much, unless it's a particular game I really, really like and don't want spoiled for me. Half-Life is not one of those.
So then, what we'll do is 100,000 subscribers. We'll have Crazy's Half-Life marathon, and he will officially play Half-Life Alyx for the first time during this playthrough.
I don't want to play the Jeff section though.
Too fucking bad.
Like, you want to play Resident Evil in VR, and I'm like, yeah, good fucking luck with that. I ain't doing it.
Yeah, well, you know what? I just made the announcement, so 100,000 subs. Let's get it, everybody.
Alright, but you have to play Drakengard.
No?
Oh. Okay. Oh.
No, I will play I will play the Nier games. I will not touch Drakengard. You can't make me. Sincerely, no. Based on what those 2 parts we did, no.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I will still tout one day I'll finish that game. One day.
Yeah. You know, it was very interesting.
Fuck this helicopter. I know that's the point, but fuck this helicopter.
I love this this track.
It's a good track. I agree.
But what I was gonna say is I watching that Half-Life 2 documentary they did for the anniversary. It's very eye-opening and very interesting because they talk about the vehicles and how they had a really struggle with the speed of them because like the maps in the Source engine could only be so big, you know. So if you made the vehicle like travel at an accurate speed, that could cause you to just be able to blast through the level in like 10 seconds, and it wouldn't be very playable. So all of the car and the boat in this, they only go at around about 25 miles an hour.
I mean, I've never viewed that as much of a problem in a 3D 3D game environment. It's like, I'll just take their word for it. Right. I've only ever thought about it in games that actually give me a speedometer, like Sonic Unleashed, and I'm like, that's probably not accurate.
Okay, real quick, fuck this fucking room. Every time I fall off the path, I don't fucking understand why. I drive as straight as possible, and the thing always just slides off of it.
I feel like this far in, they should have known putting a vehicle on rounded tops was a bad idea.
I just take it fucking... But yeah, no, I wasn't saying that the 25 mile an hour thing was a problem. I just found it very interesting because these don't feel like you're going 25 miles an hour. These feel like you're going real fast.
Because I feel it's harder to control in a game space. When you drive in real life, you have so many factors that give you information.
Right.
You lucky bastard.
Yeah, I don't fucking
how
know.
much of driving is based on feel?
Yeah.
Like, you can feel it jolt. You can feel wind on you. You can feel resistance. You can feel you're not going fast when you're going uphill. So much of that feel adds to it, and your sensory. So only being able to control it with less accurate input than a steering wheel, as well as not having the right feedback, it just makes it naturally harder to control. Right. You ate that grenade. You're just like, yeah, I'm gonna eat it.
There's Magnum ammo up there. I wanted it.
I get it. Worth. It was just funny. Yeah. It's like, I saw it appear, and I'm like, yeah, he's running right into that.
Normally, you take a lot more damage from the bomb, so I think the vehicle like kind of partially blocked the blast from my body.
Yeah.
Fuck. Lambda location. Just right here for some reason.
I think it's cool that you only see graffiti this far out on the outskirts. Like, and barely ever walk 2 areas instead of all over the city. Kind of shows you how much more in control they are compared to modern day cities, or how much they've destroyed punk culture and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just an interesting fact, or interesting detail. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Yeah. Honestly, it'd be very like dangerous to live on the outskirts of these areas. Like if you were living in the canals here, you'd have to like be scrounging for supplies and everything, but honestly you'd be mostly safe from the Combine at the very least. You just have to keep yourself hidden if a helicopter flies over or whatever. I don't know. I find it very interesting to think about how likely or how well you could survive in a world of these games.
Hmm.
You know? Yeah.